Welcome to Mr. Chalk's Revision Tips. In this video we will look at ecosystems, communities and competition. So an ecosystem is an interaction between a community of living organisms and their environment. So a community is two or more populations of organisms. An ecosystem is the interaction of two or more populations and their environment and all the other things around them. So an ecosystem, like we've just said, is the interaction between a community of living organisms and their environment. A community is two or more populations of different organisms. An ecosystem is two or more populations and their environment, and a population is all of the organisms of the same or closely related species in a single area. An ecosystem is a community of living organisms such as microbes, plants, animals and non-living abiotic components such as sunlight, water, air, minerals and such forth. So an ecosystem can be categorised into its abiotic constituents, so including minerals, the climate and such forth, and other biotic constituents, which basically covers all the living matter within that ecosystem. So a healthy ecosystem consists of native plant and animal populations interacting in a balance with each other and not outliving things, so for example water and rocks. So healthy ecosystems have an energy source, usually the sun. Decomposers break down dead plants and animals, returning the nutrients to the soil. Competition is the interaction between organisms or species in which both the organisms or species are harmed. So a limited supply of at least one resource needs to be used for both factor. So for instance, we've got light, so all plants, algae and such forth need light, so therefore plants will go and compete for light. Water and soil, so because water is needed for photosynthesis, if we think about the roots of plants, they will often go and compete for water. Minerals in the soil, so minerals are required for healthy growth, so things like nitrates and magnesium. So without sufficient minerals, plants will suffer and won't be able to make things like chlorophyll, so they will go and compete for these minerals. Space, so plants also require space for healthy growth, so this means that their leaves are not shaded, which maximises photosynthesis. So space is something else that plants will often compete for. Competition can be intraspecific, so for example the competition between oak trees in the forest, or interspecific, so when another species like birch for instance is trying to grow next to the oak tree. So competition in animals, very much like competition in plants, is where they're competing for a particular resource. So food is a big factor, so all animals require food, which provides them with energy and raw materials for their life processes. So because they'll die without this food, they will go and fight for it. Mates, so animals of a species will compete for mates. This is essential so that they can pass their genes to their offspring. So animals have often evolved innate or natural drives to reproduce, and competition quite often results in them fighting. Territory, so the territories and animals contain all the resources and conditions that they need to survive. So something like a wolf in the wild will have a large territory that it will defend. So the table gives some data about swallows and swifts. So there is very little competition between swallows and swifts for food. So if we look at the table, it suggests two reasons for this. So some of the key things is that they feed and hunt at different heights. They feed and hunt at different times of the night. and their arrival and departure dates are quite a distance apart. So swallows and swifts do not compete for some factors. It's just one of these factors. So some of the things that they do compete for, things like nesting sites or territory, insects near the ground, insects for food when it's light, and insects or food between early May and early August. The numbers of predators and prey for a certain ecosystem can be recorded over time and show what is called a predator-prey cycle. So this shows that as the number of prey goes up, there is more food available for predators, so their numbers will go up. However, when the number of predators go up, more of the prey will be eaten, so the number of prey go down. Therefore, there will be less food for the predators, so therefore their numbers will go down, and then the whole thing will start again. So red squirrels are native to the UK. Right, grey squirrels were not introduced to the UK until 100 years ago. In most parts of the UK, the population of grey squirrels is increasing, but the population of red squirrels is decreasing, so suggest why. So some of the key things, if you look at that table, is that grey squirrels have a wider range of more types of food. Their resistance to the parapox virus. They have more young each year, and the young are more likely to survive. Mule deer and white-tailed deer live together in the same national park in the USA. So the graph shows the changes in the populations of these two between 1983 and 1999. So describe the changes in the population. So some of the key things that you would have to talk about is that there is a rise of 1,480 to 1,500, or it rises by 880 to 900, or it rises until 1993, or then it falls from 400 to 440, or falls by 1,400 to 1,100 respectively. So use the information from the graph to suggest an explanation for the changes of the white-tailed deer. It's something like there's less competition from the mule deer, or there's more competition, or it falls because there's more competition from the mule deer, or some other factor relating to either of those statements.
Thanks for watching.